What's up, Middle Georgia Dog Pound? Welcome to another edition of the Middle Georgia Dog Pound Live. I'm your host, Brian. Matt, Kevin, what's up, fellas?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Here to recap a little bit of the Missouri Slop Fest that we also know as the Missouri Slop Fest. It was horrible, absolutely terrible. Worst offensive line performance I've seen out of the Dogs in probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, I guess. Had to have been back in the Mark Rick eras, I guess, that I've seen as bad of an offensive line performance as that. But before we get into the game, guys, I want to make sure to cover a few housekeeping tidbits. As you know, if this is your first time on the show, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook to give Facebook permission to show your comment on the screen. It also will allow us to see your profile picture and know who is commenting. But we'd love to hear from you. Love to hear your comments on the game, what your opinions are, and what you're looking forward to as we face the Auburn Tigers this week. Additionally, we do also have an email. Love to hear from you if you have an item or a business you'd like to promote on the show, or if you want to be a guest, hit us up at middlegeorgiadogpound@gmail.com. That's middle GADAWG, spelled like it's supposed to be, middlegeorgiadogpound@gmail.com. All right, enough of that. Let's hit those highlights and get into this thing. What do y'all say?
All right, let's do it.
60 minutes, connection. 60 minutes, connection. 60 minutes. Well, how long it takes?
You're on the road. You're on the road. You're the number one team in the country. You know they're going to be hungry.
60 minutes, for however long it takes to earn somebody's respect. For 60 minutes or for however long it takes, stay together, help each other.
Remember, this is about us. This ain't about them. This is our love for each other. 1 + 1 = what? 3. We are better together and we are connected.
If this Missouri team gets any kind of momentum on their side, it can absolutely be a dogfight today.
SEC East. Hey, remember my job. You got to do it for 4 quarters. I fully expect this game to go to 4 quarters, and you know what? Georgia, we do that different.
Prepare yourself for a 60-minute fight, however long it takes. I mean, don't look at the scoreboard. You go out there and you just chop. You just chop. You just chop. Play after play after play.
That's with all kinds of time. One strong Powers. He's got it! Deep down the far sideline. Snap it to Bennett. He's off and running inside the 25. Kick by Pod is away, and the kick is good. One-handed catch and into the end zone. Touchdown, Tyler Stevens. So Georgia not only trails for the first time this year, they trail by 10 points now here in the second quarter. The kick is away, and the kick is good. The big O. Did he catch it? Oh, yes. Georgia drives in with Kendall Milton. Touchdown, finally. Touchdown.
What's the 1 possession game?
Throws. The dart is made by Marcus Roseby Jack Saints. Trying to take the lead for the first time. Snap it back. Give it to Dejon. He drives. No, yeah, touchdown. He got in there. Sweep. They hand it off to Dejon. He's got the first down. They trip him up in the 22. Missouri can't stop the clock, but Georgia has won it. The clock is at 0, 26-22.
That's how we come together, man. That's how we come together.
Well, the old mantra of a win is a win, it definitely rang true against the Missouri Tigers. Coming out with a 4-point victory, it did not expect that struggle in Missouri. I know it was a night game, but the Dogs allowed the Missouri fan base to stay in it and become a factor. And we can't continue to let that happen. But I know Matt's got a big spiel that he wants to go on. So, Matt, I'm going to let you have it, man. Take it away.
All right. If I was going into the locker room, this is going to be my speech to that team and to Kirby Smart himself. First of all, we padding off a sweat. We just escaped one, and this is how I'd go. All right, everyone sit down. Everyone sit down. Receivers in the back, you especially, down. Stop texting, get down. Listen, cornerbacks, you guys separate. It's ridiculous. All righty. Okay. Tight ends, you guys can leave. You're good to go. Washington, you're a rock star. Thank you for hanging in there and being a rock star. Dumas Johnson, you're good to go too. You're awesome. Thank you for hanging in there and being a team leader. Everybody else, listen. That was sorry. I am disappointed. I'm disappointed in not only the team, but the coaches. I know you guys worked hard, and I appreciate the extra effort that you put into this. You didn't give up. Thank you for that. But we got to get back to the basics. We can't be predictable. That's in our play, that's in our motivation, and that's everything we do on this field. Coaches, you got to get your stuff straight. You got to stop being so predictable. We go with what works. We don't just throw out there and look for the next week to play the next team. We need to focus on a team that we're playing now. And that's my main spill that I would give them. And I would sit there and I'd get right in the face of Kirby Smart's secretary and say all that. Thank you.
I'm glad you got that off your chest, my friend. I know you've been dying to go over that all week, but it seemed like to me, and I wish Mr. Akaki was on here to give us some pointers on what was wrong with our offensive line. I know he's already come on here and said go easy on our dogs, especially the O-line. Tigers loaded the box on one side with two edge rushers at once. We corrected it when it counted. Plus, Bennett was under the most pressure he has seen. 2 more turnovers, too. Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand, and it's probably because we've never played, but it seemed like that we were just missing the basics of moving our feet, and maybe I just don't understand how it is to move your feet as an offensive lineman. But Warren McClendon just was getting blown up on the right side over and over and over. And I know we talked about this a lot off camera, but the bunch formations that we're running where, we put 7 people right at the line. I mean, you're just giving the defense an opportunity to break blocks. So I didn't understand the play calling. We went like Matt said, we went completely away from our play calling that we did against Oregon and against South Carolina, where we spread people out through screen passes, threw the ball to Brock Bowers, and got people in space and let them make plays. So, it looks like John Nakaki says we threw the ball too much. Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
But you got to when your running backs are coughing up the football on a big run. It just that still bothers me. You put a running back in there that's supposed to be dynamic, and he runs down the field, and he gets 15 yards down the field, and one hit from safety, and he coughs up the football.
And they practice that.
You got to secure the football, man.
Mm-hmm.
Secure
and
the football.
They practice that. I mean, they practice the knockout drills all the time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Keeping it high. And don't get me wrong, man. So it just 2 things happened there. The guy made a great play on the ball. We got to give him that piece. But at the same time, like you're saying, that's something you guys practice day in and day out, keeping that ball high and running. But some of that problem is that he loves to run towards the people and tries to bulldoze them down instead of cutting away from them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think they plan to run the ball. I think their goal was to run the ball. They came out running the ball, and then we coughed it up.
Yep.
And kudos. Oh, my gosh. I mean, one of the game balls has to go to Edwards. That joker, they trusted him with the ball in that last 5 minutes of the game and said, hey, you're going to lead us home. And he did. He did exactly what he needed to do. I think eventually the offensive line wore down that defense. I think that defense had a lot of just heart in them for the first 3 quarters, and we wore them down. And it showed in that fourth quarter, wearing that team down. I mean, a lot of energy, a lot of presence, like I said, night game, a lot of things that were going their way, and we just didn't shut them up early enough. And who knows? We don't make that fumble, those 2 fumbles that we have, the game maybe not even be close. We may have defeated them, early in the game, but we didn't. We let them stay in the game and gave them hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And after the first 2 drives, and we went 3 and out on the first 2 drives, we let the crowd get into it, like I said, and the crowd affected the game. I mean, let's just be honest, they really did, and that's not something that you typically see in Missouri. So Hunter Ivy says pitiful performance across the board. O-lines looks like the worst I've seen in a while. They were manhandled from the start to finish. McClendon and Van Pran got beat all night, and defense played well. Yeah, I would say the defense, kept them out of the end zone. We gave up, those 2 big runs. I think we were talking about it off camera. I think the Missouri had a total of 102 yards of rushing, and 91 yards of that came on 2 plays. So you take that away, those explosive runs, then of course, we shut down a lot of their offense. Let's see. I think this is John Akaki says Missouri had the field position the whole first half. We stayed from our 7, 10, and 15 yard started, I guess is what he's meaning. Started from our 7, 10, and 15-yard line. Plus, Missouri had no turnovers. Yeah, and that's what's killing us. That is what is killing us for sure. Is that we are not forcing turnovers, and we had opportunity to do so. I mean, we had a couple balls that Malachi Starks could have intercepted. Who was another one that
he had the interception and it hit his own guy and it came out of his hands.
Yep.
Like, that's unlucky. Just how it was. Just unlucky.
Yeah, it was. It was.
And they were getting the luck. We were fumbling our ball on ourselves, man. Sometimes it's how it goes. I mean, look at the games that we played where we had the bad turnovers, the multiple turnovers, and still won the game. So in hindsight, that's what's going on. Like I said, we talked about it a little bit ago. You said it. These big plays is what's killing us. I mean, in the past, if a team wanted to score on us, they had to make a 8 to 12 play drive. They had to do that. We didn't give up big plays. But these last 2 games, we are giving up these big plays and keeping these teams in the game. We don't have to make these 7, 8 yard pass runs to move the ball. They just make these big scrambles and throw the ball downfield. We leave one guy wide open, or these guys run the ball down the middle of down the gut of us. We're giving them that fuel to keep going.
Yep. Absolutely. And John Akaki says, plus their kicker had a career day. He went 50-plus 3 times. Yeah.
Yep.
He really did.
But yet we'll miss a 20-yarder at Auburn.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give him that. But when we're giving up big bombs down the field by our veteran corner, that's the one that's, Keely Ringo gave up big plays. Very plays.
Concerning.
Yeah. And
he looked lost a couple of times, and then it just like run into the receiver, and of course got pass interference called on him. But I was like, "What are you doing, man?" I know last week we said, don't hit the panic button, but I mean, my hand is over the panic button. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm like, ooh, we had another game like this. It might be time to throw the panic button, but. Let me ask you guys this, and I'll let Kevin answer first. Do you think this team is riding last year's team's coattails?
It feels that way. It feels like they're asleep at the wheel. They got it on cruise control, and it seems like they think that teams are just going to lay down for them just because they're the defending national champion. And even though Kirby is saying that, the Dogs are going to be the hunters, it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel like they're coming out in these games. The Oregon game did. The South Carolina game did. And we said that we thought that this was probably going to be a better defense than last year, and I don't know whether coaches have figured out the scheme and know how to play against it, or we're just asleep at the wheel, and we got to figure something out and figure it out this week. And I'm hoping that they turn the page and have a big night. Otherwise, it could be embarrassing at home.
Yep. What you think, Matt?
I just don't think they're as talented. But it sounds bad to say that. I think there's talent there, but I think it's young talent. I told you guys at the beginning of the year, I think next year's defense will be awesome. I mean, a lot of the guys who are playing now are, redshirt sophomores or sophomores. I mean, they're going to be back next year. You're right. You lost all those guys. A lot of those guys we lost are juniors and seniors. So, yeah, they got a lot of experience last year playing, which is good. But their experience time a lot of it was in trash time, in my opinion. So I just don't think they haven't had like full strength, first stringers hitting you in the mouth at full speed, not tired like they had last year. But once again, I think they showed us in the first part of the year they can do it. They just got to get all their ducks in a row. They have to realize every game is a new game. I'm sick of hearing the defending national champion bullcrap.
Yep.
This is not boxing or MMA. You don't have the belt anymore.
That's right.
You have to go get and earn a new title.
I agree.
Yep.
So I think they still have, maybe you're right. So maybe it's that whole mantra that we still have this. No, you don't have anything. That's yours. You get to keep it forever. No one can take it from you. But you can't get another one by winning.
That's last year's.
Yep.
Exactly.
Totally agree.
So that's why I get sick of it. Same thing with the Braves. Like, they're not defending anything. They have it. No one can take it from them. They got to get another one.
Yep.
So our tight ends are the best players on the team. Why are we not using them more? I mean, they're absolutely the best position group that we have on the team. It seems like between the tight ends and Dejon Edwards, we should be giving them the ball nearly every play. And I guess maybe I'm biased because I'm a huge Dejon Edwards fan. I mean, anybody that just goes out there, puts their head down and produces and just hits people like he does over and over and over. I mean, thank God that we had him at the end of the game, right, to ice that thing.
Yeah.
Or we would be sitting here mulling over a loss. So, yeah, it's definitely a new world when it almost seems like that Monken was kind of asleep at the wheel too, but I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words after that game. That's for sure.
Yeah. I want to know why we can't secure the football, because it's not interceptions. It's just fumbles. It's sloppy ball security.
Yep.
I mean, Stetson went to pull the ball out of Dejon's hands, and thank God Stetson made a good tackle. But, you got to know those things quickly to, that transfer. And they just either give him the ball or hold on to it. One of the two. Don't drop it on the dirt. And if it wasn't for that awesome tackle that he made, that was probably another 7 points on the board, because he was gone. There was nobody else to tackle him but Stetson.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I want to introduce a new segment show. The football, the ball. I can't even remember what I was going to do now. The player of the game, who got the game ball. Who's your game ball recipient on offense there, Matt?
I'm going to give it to Washington. Not only did he make some really stellar clutch catches, that joker, he blocked great the entire game. And that's one thing I'm about to bang on, because I love me some Bowers. But Bowers struggled to block the entire game. Yep. He was struggling. Sometimes we were doing those outruns and those runs around the outside. You could always see he was not getting his hands up fast enough on those linebackers or cornerbacks, which causes not to get yardage. So yep. Washington earned it from my standpoint.
Yep. What about you, Kevin? Who's your offensive player?
Well, I had two, and I'm a little between the both of them. But I'm gonna give mine to Jack Hot Pod Lesney because he accounted for 14 points in that game, and if it wasn't for him, that was most definitely a loss.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, he was the SEC player of the week there. So, congrats to him. I think that's the second week in a row he won that award. So, yeah, he definitely was clutch for us. Hey, look at this. Bennett's shoulder isn't 100%.
Did I call it or what?
You called it. You called it. That's what we were just talking about, John. Before the show came on. Definitely was thinking the same thing, that his shoulder must be hurt because he's not accurate, and we hadn't seen any deep balls. So we were saying the exact same thing. Dad says not making excuses, but the three long field goals kept giving them hope. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. Well, mine is Dejon Edwards. I already said that. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have been able to ice that game and put it away. So I'll give him the game ball for offense. What about defense here, Kevin? Who do you have for your defensive player?
I told you before, it was hard for me to come up with one. I think it's Malachi Starks. He had some big plays, and he had that huge play. He didn't give up on the play. He knew that they got beat, but he ran the guy down and tackled him on the 1 yard line. And then they got a penalty, which backed them up. The defense stood up in that play, and they had to settle for 3. So they were not able to come away with 7 points, and that helped. That was huge. So I will give the whole defense credit. They stayed in the game, even though they're poorly playing because they had missed tackles everywhere. They did not give up on themselves, and they hung in there through the whole thing. I will give them that much credit.
Yep, totally agree. Matt, what you think, buddy?
Pops Dumas Johnson. Simple as that. Not only was all over the field playing, he got caught up in some stuff at one time, but he was all over the field making plays, making tackles, and then when his team was sucking wind, he's on the sideline coaching them boys up, getting in their grill, and that's what I like to see.
Yeah.
I like to see, even though the play may be over with, you're still saying get in your lane, do your job. I love it.
Yep, totally agree. Totally agree. Well, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like that we have rehashed this over and over and over, and I'd like to flush it down the toilet and move forward. Any other thoughts on this game before we move on?
No, I think we covered it.
I don't think the game was as close as the score showed.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, let's hit the game trailer, and then we'll get into Auburn.
The most heated rivalries in the entire Deep South.
Auburn has had a hard time really playing with Georgia.
I'm going to take Auburn. It's a rivalry game, so I'm going to lean Georgia to win a narrow game here.
Enough talk, it's time to work. Get up! Again, go. Earn respect by what you do.
Wrapped up in sacks, gets in the air.
You said the last couple weeks, hard talk or their talk. And talk has to snap with your pads. You don't say a word, you strike with your pads and talk with this thing right here. Don't do it by talking. Do it by being more physical than they are.
And we've stopped them. Touchdown, Georgia.
Broke it up. Hunker down, you guys. Touchdown.
He almost getting bit by Ucla.
Probably the best highlight reel right there is Ucla trying to bite the Auburn player. So, guys, yeah, here we are. Deep South's oldest rivalry. Brian Harsin is the head coach. How much longer he holds on, who knows? As you guys know, he came from Boise State. He is currently making $5.25 million as the head coach for the Auburn Tigers. I included this little stat right here. It's $15 million buyout if he's fired in the middle of the season, and then half of that will be due within 30 days of termination. So pretty good reason for Auburn to hold on to him to the end of the season. What do you think? Of course, you guys. Of course, you know that Auburn is the most confused fan base. They don't know what mascot they want to use. They have Albie the Tiger, and then they have the War Eagle, and then of course they're the Plainsmen as well. So, but if you're not familiar with Albie the Tiger, there's his photo. But let Matt take it away and go over to the offense and give us a little highlight on who we should expect to be the top performers for Auburn.
All right, so we're going to start out with a quarterback with Robbie Ashford. Like I said, he's played in every game so far for them this year, but really didn't take the starting role until last week. So his stats, pretty much like I said, they're on the screen, but he's thrown about 709 yards so far this year. 337 of it came last week against LSU. He's got 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He is also their second leading rusher with over 223 yards so far this year. So we're going to see a lot of scrambling around, which is kind of what some of my worrisome is for the game moving forward, is his ability to make plays that aren't there, that start out bad. And we saw that a little bit even last week against a really non-mobile quarterback with Missouri. He was able to get outside the pocket and make some plays. So we're going to make sure we have our safeties and our star player really have their heads on a swivel when they're looking around for how he's moving around the field and stuff. He does turn the ball over because he's a gunslinger. He wants to make plays with his feet and his arm. So we'll look to see him try to maybe extend plays when he shouldn't have. So maybe we'll get some sacks in here and put them back a few yards here and there. They also got the running backs here we all know Tanks Bigsby. We all wanted him, and he came out of high school, went to Auburn. He's their first leading rusher. He has 4 touchdowns, about 326 yards. He averages about 4.7 yards a rush, which is really good, but they don't use him very much. So I got a feeling now that we got Ashford as their starting quarterback, we're going to see a lot more run-focused plays against Georgia than we have in the past other teams. I think they're going to finally figure it out that they need to put this guy with his hand with the ball. And so he's also got about 87 yards receiving as well. Not a big receiver, but he still has activity in the pass game. Other running back we have is Hunter. He is their third leading rusher. He's got 4 touchdowns as well, and also 1 receiving touchdown. He's got over 100 yards receiving as well. Not a whole bunch of yards rushing. I think it's a little bit over 130. But he's definitely active in their offense. So please, we got to keep a lookout for him as well. They may have both of them on the field at the same time, so we're going to make sure we have good coverage. They're going to try to get those guys outside on our linebackers and outspeed them. So with that, we have their receivers they have. They have Johnson, who is their leading receiver. He's already surpassed his yardage he had all last year. So he is a junior. He's got 305 yards, only 1 touchdown though. But like I said, he saw a lot of yards last week as well, about 79 yards last week against LSU. So he's going to be their main target. Good sized guy. So look for him. They also have the other receiver they have is Coy Moore. This guy has honestly the worst photo picture I've ever seen of any player. He looks like he is constipated, but it's okay. He's their second leading receiver. Not great yardage there, but he's definitely active in their passing game. So look to see him, inside and outside on the slot. And then their tight end. They love this tight end guy. He's got really good size. He's like 6'4", 250. He's a really good size tight end. He's got 147 yards receiving. So he'll be a threat as well. They'll slip him out into the secondary as well. So those are the main guys we're going to see during this game that I think are going to be the most impactful for their team. Now I'll hand it over to defense.
Yeah, the first guy I want to cover is Cam Riley. It's number 13, and this is a pretty big guy for a linebacker. He's 6'5", 230. This guy's really instilled himself in this defense this year. If you look back in the last year, I don't think he was a starter, and I think he played in kind of mop-up situations, but now he's a starter, and he's kind of asserted himself in a big way in this game, in this team. He's had 30 tackles so far this year, and due to his size, his height, they're probably going to have him roll out and cover Darnell Washington. Just as the size match up with him. So watch for that throughout the game. How have they implement him in defensive coverage, covering those linebackers? The second guy I've got is Derek Hall. He's number 29. He's also a linebacker. He's 6'3", 256. He's a senior. He leads the team in sacks this year. He's got 4 sacks. He's 24 tackles and 1 interception. He mainly is very disruptive. He rushes off the edge, and he relies on his strength and his size to disrupt plays. So we've really got to be have an answer for this guy to come up and maybe a running back to come up and chip him off the edge to buy Stetson some time. And then thirdly, Colby Wooden. This guy is number 25. He's defensive end, 6'5", 284. He has 19 tackles on the season, 2 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. This guy is physical. He's disruptive. We can't allow this guy to get off the edge and get in the backfield. He's quick. He's twitchy. He's going to be looking to be in Stetson's face all day long. And this is when we really need our offensive line to step up and have their best ball game against these guys. Really, really got to watch out for this defensive end. Prides himself on being a disruptive factor on the defense.
Good deal. Yeah, we definitely have got to do 2 things: is get the ball out of Stetson's hand fast, come up with some quick, easy passes so that we can get the ball moving and get started fast. Because the last 2 games we have not started fast, and we cannot do this again. So, what's your keys to the game there, Matt? What are you thinking on Auburn? What do we got to do to be successful?
I ultimately think if we create turnovers on defense, we'll put them in a bad position, and we'll create more opportunities for more mistakes. I'm not going to put this so much on the offense. I think we'll be okay, but I really think we got to create some turnovers and just make it, like you said, the atmosphere we're going to have it in the UGA is going to be stellar, and so we need to make sure that when we create turnovers, we make them feel devastated and defeated with our atmosphere. So I think that the defense needs some encouragement, needs some motivation, and need to be able to turn the tide on them when it comes time for some turnovers. That's my opinion. So I think some turnovers will really motivate and inspire and really get that emotional build up for them to fly to the ball more.
Hunter Ivy says this is his most hated team in all of college football. I don't know. I don't know if that it ranks that high for me, but yeah, they're definitely up in the top 5. That's for sure, because they are the luckiest football team ever. That is for dang sure. Kevin, what's your thoughts on keys to the game, there, buddy?
Well, obviously, we cannot have any turnovers in this game. And stupid turnovers at that. We got to have ball security and play hard, play physical. Our offensive line has got to open up running lanes so we can get this running game going. I'm not sure, but I think they found something with Dejon at the end of that game last week, and hopefully they can continue on with that running success this week, improve on it, make it better, because as we all know, the running game opens the passing game and vice versa. So we've got to have a good balance between the two. I really think, and I know we've been harping on that, me and Brian both have been harping on Dejon Edwards should be at least the number 2 back without question. And I really, really think that if they would play him as a starter, they would find a better success in the run game.
Yep. Totally agree. And, like I said earlier, it's bunch formations where we're taking 2 tight ends and putting them on the line. All you're doing is adding more defensive players there to the box. So, got to spread those guys out and then give him an opportunity to make plays in space. Hunter Ivy says we have to create 200 turnovers. Look at the games this year when we created turnovers against the teams. I guess the games where we turned the ball over. Yeah, turnovers are definitely key. If we can create some turnovers, it definitely affects our momentum. And get that momentum swing going your direction. You start turning things around in your direction and making things happen for the better. So that is for dang sure. Well, guys, let's get into the Week 6 matchups and hit on those real quick. Let's see if I can get my presenter to work here. There we go. So LSU versus the Vols. Matt, I'll let you take this one. What you think?
Tennessee Vols will beat the crap out of this team. If it wasn't for the 4 turnovers last week at Auburn, LSU wouldn't even been close to that game. So the Volunteers, them winning the game despite 4 turnovers, they get 4 turnovers and they'll probably lose. But I don't see that happening. I see the Volunteers win this game pretty easily.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Kevin. What's your thoughts, buddy?
I think that Tennessee is also going to win this game. My only concern with Tennessee is their backfield on defense is very, very weak. But Tennessee's offense is so explosive when it wants to be. I think it's just going to run away with this game without too much trouble, even though it is at LSU and it's going to be.
Yeah, but they're playing at 11 o'clock, so the LSU fans they hadn't had enough juice yet to get fired up in that stadium. But Vegas has Tennessee only by 2.5 points. I think that's kind of small.
Yeah,
that seems like I'd take that all day long if I was betting. It seems like that's a very low number. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Tennessee runs away with this one. I think they win it by 2 touchdowns. Easily.
Yeah, I was going to say at least 2 touchdowns.
Alabama versus A&M. Boy, this is going to be a grudge match, man. Matt, what you got on this one, buddy?
Alabama's going to beat this team down to the ground. This Texas A&M won't score 10 points, and it will be over with by halftime.
Yep. Yeah, I think I showed a graphic on the Middle Georgia Facebook page about Jimbo's buyout. It's astronomical. Like, it can't happen. I don't think it could happen for the next 10 years. But it's crazy the amount of money. What is it, like $90 million or something if they were to try to buy his contract out now?
Crazy.
It's absolutely nuts.
So stupid.
Kevin, what you think on this one, buddy?
I totally agree with Matt on this one. A&M has lost their way. Even though they had that somewhat win against Arkansas, they are not going to do that against Alabama. Even if Alabama has to play their backup quarterback, I don't see them even coming close to making this a competitive game. I got Alabama by at least 3 touchdowns.
Yep, I totally agree. I missed some comments here, so I'm going to back the slides up here. So Hunter Ivy says Tennessee will win huge. Tennessee will beat LSU 45-28. John Akaki says 28-14 Vols. Yeah, I see that more. That score right there, to 28-14. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game like 45-28. I see more like what John Akakis was saying there. But definitely have the Vols winning the game. That's for sure. Let's see, Arkansas and Mississippi State. Kevin, what you think on this one, buddy?
Oh, this is going to be an interesting game. This one, they're going to Mississippi State with all the cowbells. Brian likes the cowbells.
Can't stand the cowbells.
Honestly, I think this is going to be an interesting game for us to see what we have to look forward to going down there and see if actually Mississippi State can compete because against I would say almost a mediocre offense of Arkansas because they don't have a passing game. It's all run. So we'll see how they do. I think it's going to be a close one. And honestly, I really, really want to pick Arkansas to win this one. I'm just really nervous about doing it. But I think I'm going to pick them by a field goal, pick Arkansas by a field goal.
Gotcha. Hunter Ivy on the Alabama game, the game I've been waiting on. No Bryce Young will be playing. Low scoring game in this one. Aggies find a way to get the W. Yeah, I don't know. They just can't stop the run. That's the issue that I see is they cannot stop the run. And that's what this quarterback's going to do. He's going to run the ball all night long. So I'm not sure that Texas A&M can pull it off.
I hope it's true. That'd be awesome.
It would be awesome, but I just don't see it happening. Matt, what you think about Arkansas and Mississippi State?
So I said at the beginning of the year we were going through this stuff that Mississippi State is going to really improve this year because they got the most returning starters in the entire SEC. Got 17 returning starters, and I think they're going to be the Arkansas of last year for this year. Last year, Arkansas had all those returning starters, had all those super seniors and stuff, and now it's Mississippi State's turn. Are they going to be 10-2? Maybe not, but they're definitely going to be. They're going to win this game. I think so. I think Jefferson's hurt again as well. Not to mention, like I said, like Kevin said, they can't pass the ball. All they are is run heavy, and I think they'll win this game by 10 points.
Yeah, the thing about Arkansas that concerns me is that KJ Jefferson is out for this game. I don't know if you guys. Yeah, he's got a concussion. So that's the thing that concerns me for this game. But you never know what Mississippi State's going to show up, where there's going to be the team that's the Will Rogers is going to perform, or the Will Rogers is going to have his garbage game. It's you just never know. And that's the thing about Mississippi State is they are not consistent. It's always been that way. With Mississippi State, they cannot bring their A game every single week in the SEC. So it's going to be on the fence. What team shows up for Mississippi State? If the team that shows up from last week, they're going to win, obviously. But the team that showed up against was it LSU that they lost to? That's gonna be the key. So. For that, I don't know. I'm on the fence with this one. I don't really know which one's going to pull it off.
Flip a coin.
That's right. TCU and Kansas. What you got on this one, Matt?
I think TCU wins this game. I think it's an interesting game. I put this game out there because it's just crazy to see that Kansas is actually winning games. I think they've had 5 wins this year. I think that's more than they had in 2 years combined. And so I really don't. I think it's just just a facade right now. But I think TCU is a good, pretty solid team, and I think TCU goes on the road and beats the Kansas Jayhawks.
Kevin,
I agree with Matt. I think this is one of those teams that is riding high on surprise and emotion, and I think this is one of those games where emotion gets the best of them. I think they're starting to have in the back of the mind that nobody can beat them, and other teams are going to be coming in with the mindset of we're going to prove them wrong. And I think this is going to be one of those with TCU's got the experience and the talent to go in there and do that.
Yeah, I'm going with TCU as well on this one. It's pretty easy to pick them over Kansas. I've never thought Kansas was a football school anyway. So let's see. I miss Hunter Ivy. He said that Arkansas finds a way to win Arky by 3, and Dad said the same thing. Arkansas will find a way to win. Oh, here we go. Hunter Ivy says, "Go Kansas! 6-0 is coming on Saturday." I like it. I like it. Let's see. That's Utah and UCLA. What you got, Kevin?
I'm gonna go with the Utes on this one. I like them on this. I've never really seen much out of UCLA. I think that they're a program that's kind of overhyped, and I think that Utah is going to come in and blast them. It's probably going to be, I don't know, it's probably touchdown, 2-touchdown win.
Utah's 4-1. UCLA is 5-0. Utah has the one loss to Florida. Had they not been playing in the swamp, they probably would have won that game because all of their players were puking on the sidelines because they were overheated. So what do you think, Matt?
So I think these are 2 of the top 4 teams in the Pac-12 or 8 or the Pac whatever the hell they are this week. The Flag Football League out there on the West Coast. So these are the 2 of the 4 top teams. I really think, like Kevin said, I think the Utes are going to win it. I think they have a very explosive offense that's really riding high right now, and they got something to prove because they really want to they really want to be the contender against USC and Oregon out there.
Yeah, when I watched Pac-12, I think of Tecmo Bowl. You know, the diving defenders, the dive across the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I think about when I watch this team. I'm like, I'm watching Tecmo Bowl. Just no tackling. They don't wrap anybody up. They just dive at each other's feet. So that's what I think about when I watch this. Hunter Ivy says UCLA all day. Utah is going to have a long day. I like that. Hunter Ivy bringing the juice tonight, man.
Yeah,
He's got
man.
some juicy predictions. All right, NC State and FSU. Kevin, what you think about this one, buddy?
I don't know. I think I'm going to go with NC State on this one. I think that Florida State's overhyped. NC State's didn't they just come off a loss to Clemson? They're going to be ready for some retribution, and FSU is going to be the one to pay the price. I'm going to get them 2-touchdown win. It's probably going to be, I think, 28-24. Or
Gotcha.
That's not 2 touchdowns. That's 4 points. But yeah,
that's the common core.
That is. I've had a long week, Matt. Leave me alone.
Sorry.
What you think, Matt?
I think State's going to win. That's my prediction.
I'm not taking NC State. They let me down last week. I want them to be.
Technically, they're both State.
What now?
They're both State.
I know. I'm not taking NC State. I'm not even mentioning them. They're on my poo-poo list. They're supposed to be Clemson, and they just laid an egg. Dad says NC State's going to win 27-13. I'm not even mentioning them.
I agree with you, Dad.
I think Florida State's going to win this one. Was it Mike Norvell's the coach down there now? He's going to turn it around for Florida State. They're 4-1, and so is NC State. All right, the game of the night. Auburn versus Georgia. Let me hear your predictions. What you got, Matt?
Y'all are gonna like this. I just, like I said, I'm not believing in this offense right now. I think there's a lot of out there not being disclosed. I think there's some injuries out there that we're aware of that are causing some of our concerns and some of our timing issues. I'm gonna go. I think Georgia's gonna win it, but I think it's gonna be 28-17.
Okay, Kevin.
I'm gonna go a little bit steeper than that, Matt. I agree with you wholeheartedly. There are injuries that, honestly, I was just made aware of figured out that Lad McConkey has been battling a foot injury, and we all know about injuries to AD and that. And you take out those key positions, it's hard to get in a rhythm and find the end zone, especially when they were the ones that were blasting defenses. But I still think that Georgia makes the necessary adjustments this week, and comes out with a big win. I'm going to say Georgia wins 36-17.
Woo! 36-17. Dad says 34-13 Georgia. I like it. Hunter Ivy must be a little bit behind us here. He said the Noles come in for the Wolfpack. Noles, FSU 24-17. Well, with Georgia, I'm going to tell you what. We're going to bring Darnell Washington, a.k.a. Ninja Warrior. He's going to be kicking some people in the face again. And I don't know if you guys saw that hit he put on that safety. He knocked him back with like 4 or 5 yards when the safety came in.
Yep.
So expect a little bit more of that. But if we do not give the ball to Brock Bowers running it out of the backfield, we are stupid, because that is what has gave us some explosive plays in the last the 2 games prior to Kent State. And so we need to do that again. But I'm going to go – I don't think Georgia covers. What have we slated?
Like 30 points or something.
28.5 points. I don't think we cover, but I think we hold Auburn under 2 touchdowns. I'm going to go 32-10. 32-10.
I'll take that all day long.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, back to your point about injuries and stuff, right? Like, what is McConkey's injury got to do with him not catching balls? What's the foot injury got to do with his hands not?
It takes your focus, your complete focus on completing your route, completing your catch. You're worried about cutting wrong, hurting your foot, injuring. You got something else on your mind besides your whole mind in the game.
Yep. Hunter Ivy says, I want it to say a blowout. I want to say UGA covered the spread. With the way the last 2 weeks have been, I'm using reverse psychology. UGA wins 24-21. Maybe we get a blowout, buddy. Because the fact that Jalen Carter is not going to be playing concerns me for our defense. So,
yep.
John Akaki says 44-17 Dogs. I like that too.
Mm-hmm.
I like that too. Well, guys, you got any final thoughts before we shut this thing down?
I will be ashamed if they do not come home and beat down Auburn after Penn State went out to Auburn and beat them down in their own stadium.
Yep.
It would be shameful. So I hope that they come ready to play, have the necessary adjustments, and just get your heads right, because it just doesn't seem like they've had their heads right the last 2 weeks.
Well, I'll tell you what this team seems like to me, and it seems like to me that we're not mature, and Jalen Carter is a prime example of that. And, you would not have ever seen that what happened at the Missouri game happened on last year's team for one of our leaders of the defense out there jawing with the other team. You're letting the other team get in your head. And so you saw that happen, and it almost seems like this is, trying to put it in parent terms, it seems like a baby that's just trying to figure out how to eat solid food. They're just cutting their teeth, and their teeth are just coming through. And so they're angry and they're ornery, and they hadn't really figured out their way of how to eat the food. But once the teeth come in, then they start biting your fingers off. Mm-hmm. So we got to get the teeth come on through, right? And we got to mature our team, and then I think that that point will be where we need to be. That was a dirty hit on Carter. A flag should have been thrown. Yeah, I agree with you.
Oh yeah.
Man, I don't think it was dirty. I just think it should have still a penalty though. I don't think
it should have been a penalty.
I don't think it hurt him. I think it was a bad play, and he and it should have been a flag. It should have been a penalty for sure. I don't think he was trying to be dirty. I just think it just ended up that way for us.
Oh, yeah, it was most definitely a legal chalk block. I mean, it doesn't get any more obvious than that when you're engaged with another player and you get hit in the knees.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, that's the spitting definition of an illegal chalk block.
Yep, I agree with you. Well, Matt, final thoughts, buddy?
Man, I just wanted to play simple. I think if we just play simple and I mean, it's going to sound very, very elementary, but put the ball in your playmakers' hands. Don't overcomplicate it. Let them make plays.
Yep.
That's simple. I mean, don't try to do anything fancy, especially if you got people with injuries. Make it simple. Let them make plays.
Yep, totally agree. All right, guys. Well, let's set this thing off, man. All right, guys. Well, we're going to take it on back to Sanford Stadium one more time. Get between the hedges. Hopefully our fans will get out there and turn out, be loud, and affect that offense. I know that fans had a big effect in the Arkansas game last year, and I know we can do it again against Auburn. So, guys, we're going to take it to the house. I'm Brian, Matt, Kevin, signing off for the Middle Georgia Dog Pound. Go Dogs!
Go Dogs!